So normally what I'll do is pick like a symptom or a huge topic for this and like write down a couple notes I want, whatever. This one I was just thinking in the shower, wanted to throw together a quick video just to explain or talk about some of my own shit. So I touched a huge thing was communication in my last video. I'm going to touch it just a little bit in this one, and how I became a non. Just kidding. I don't think anyone's ever a non. It's basically PTSD for children. I think it's going to be with you forever. And I'm going to touch base on that as well. So let's go. I'll try and unscramble my brain as much as possible. All right. So I want to touch base on the first thing just because I'll totally forget and then it would negate the entire purpose of this video. So for me, people, I'm at a point which is I'm so thankful for, that people in my life constantly tell me how positive I am and how peppy I am and strong and this and that and like whatever, and that's what they see in me. They don't really know how bad I suffered from mental illness. They don't, like, that's who I became as a person, not through manipulation, but because those are the parts of me that I have chosen to emphasize over the years and build on. And that's crazy to me. I was somebody who was admitted at one point. I went down the really, really, really hard road, and it took a good 10 years of introspection. And I mean, I started where everyone starts at day one, where you find out you have BPD and you read it in a textbook and you want to die 20 times more because you feel like you're not even a real person. You're like, holy shit, like somebody already wrote the book on my life. This is everything I think, everything I feel, everything I am. I'm not even a person. That's where you start. That's okay. We all start there. And this is for the person basically who has tried to get better or is trying and keeps coming back to a down and thinking, this is all it's ever going to be, so I can't do this anymore, because that's where I was and that's why I was admitted. And God, I got there numerous fucking times. And so I am here to be that person to tell you that I am now 30 years old. I got diagnosed at 20. And there are still days where I think to myself, I am just really bad at being a human. Like, I'm not good at it because I feel things so much differently and I think so much differently that I can't wait until my next life, because I was put here by accident. I still feel like that, but it's okay. That doesn't make me want to fucking die. I'm a little bit of an introvert these days, but not because I hate people, but because I'm selective over who I want to be around because of it. And that's okay. I can promise you that it doesn't feel the same when it comes around anymore. You kind of just take those days and you say, here it is. Woke up having a day for no reason. It just doesn't feel like it did. Okay. Anyways, staying on point. How I got to where I am today. So a lot of you guys have been with me for a while. You know that. And this is just me as an individual. BPD and healing and mental illness is always going to be based on what works for you. I cannot tell you that this will work for you. I can tell you that it's how it helped me. After being admitted and seeing a lot of therapists, I learned that some therapists enable me, which is the worst. Like, hello. Okay, I can't. It's crazy to me how many therapists will enable somebody who has BPD, who can manipulate you into seeing something from their view. Like, call me on my bullshit, bro. I'll call you on yours. The fuck? How you getting paid right now if you're enabling me? So, enabled me some that just were, it surprised me that they were psychologists at all, because they would legit like start arguments with me. And this is after I had learned patience. Like, I had learned to hold my tongue in a conversation, and they would dead ass be the ones to instigate an argument where like they had to have their point. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I would clash with a lot of people. So for me, weeks of DBT therapy, because workbooks don't work for me either. So DBT therapy and groups and like whatever wasn't my thing. And that's okay for me. A lot of people like the structure of it, and I agree with that. I wanted it because I wanted the structure, but it was a waste of my time. So, what grew to work for me and why is I love books. I love reading. Pathetically enough, my bookshelf is overflowing with probably 75% of self-help books. I don't mean workbooks. I don't like workbooks. Self-help books and autobiographies. Because, so I get made fun of a lot. But it's not exactly what you think. I don't read these self-help books because I think that they're going to cure whatever that self-help book is about. I read them because, okay, like let me take an example. One will be, I think it's called like The Dance of Communication or something maybe. I haven't even read it yet, but I can tell you that I chose it because, or no, that wasn't even the one I was thinking of. There was one, something about that tells you why you have a hard time saying I'm sorry. I read these books because once I learned patience and introspection, my favorite thing in the planet became being objective. I, for a long time, would have something in my head. If it was in my head and I thought about it, it was reality, and it was what it was. So I started to learn that sometimes I'm wrong. And so for me, reading these books that other people have written on why we do a certain thing and how to overcome it, sometimes it doesn't fit for me. But it always helps to read this and be objective and say, hey, this makes a lot of sense. Sometimes it will be comparable to somebody in your life that has done this to you. Learning about other people is just as important as learning about yourself. So for me, being objective and reading all these self-help books on why people do what they do doesn't only help me grow as a person and be introspective, it helps me understand human beings in general, which is so important because sometimes our black and white thinking really puts us in on just focusing on ourselves and this and that, and you forget that everyone's different and you have to try and understand other people too. It's not all about you. So that for me was crucial. I would be nothing without my books. And people see them and they're like, oh, they just make fun of the books because they think that I try and become a person by reading these certain things, when in reality I'm just trying to take in more knowledge about certain things. So that brings me to another point where, with the reason I was thinking about that is how far I've had to come with BPD. BPD people are insanely intuitive. Insanely. So that I will say, look at these. Look at that. I just took 3 years off my life. Like, what are those and when did they get here? You're not welcome. Okay. People with borderline are insanely intuitive. That is a thing. I will not downplay that because, like, for realsies, I didn't have anybody growing up. So I just paid attention to everyone around me, and I would watch people manipulate people to get what they wanted or to get out of situations. I would watch liars. I would watch abusers, and I would watch genuine people. Those are my favorite people. You always just know. Sometimes I'm a little bit naive and I think somebody's super genuine, and then I learn something and I'm like, holy shit, I did not see that coming. Because we can be wrong. This is my point. So we are very intuitive. I will give you that, but it does not make you magical. It doesn't. So sometimes in a situation where everything in your mind is piecing together these dots that say, nah, this is what happened. This is for real. Like, this is going down right now. Say something. Like, you have to be careful because over the years, and it took me, a lot of the times we're right, and that's what's crazy. What is that? I hate aging. So a lot of the times we're right, which is what makes it so hard. But there have been some times where I was wrong. It's not often, as far as my intuition goes, but it has happened where I've overreacted with a situation, and I'm just like, and I find out the truth, and I'm like, oh, it seems so real. So you have to remember that things aren't always the way that our minds are telling us they are. They're just not. And so that was a whole huge role in me learning communication and learning to find my chill and wait and come back to something and be objective, is because I was so impulsive all the time. And it's what kept me sick. It's what kept me ugly. That was it. My closed-minded thinking that I knew everything all the time. I was right all the time. What I thought had to be real, and I was right. And sometimes you're not. And so these books helped me be introspective, be objective, and really relate to other people and understand that, like, there's another person on the other side of whatever I'm dealing with. Involves a whole other human being and their reasons for doing what they do, and like whatever. It's not all about you. Point blank, period. And if you want to have relationships with other people, you're going to have to fucking get your head out of your ass and pay attention to the fact that this is a two-way street. There are two human beings involved in whatever you're dealing with right now. So pay attention to them too and be objective. And I'm not saying that everyone is good and not lying to you. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that what has helped me, first of all, it's never going to help you to be loud and confront people all the time and call people on their shit. First, if you have somebody in your life where you have to call them on their shit because they're lying to you all the time, maybe take some space from that person. But like, for the most part, the people you're trying to keep in your life are good. So if they make a mistake, if it's a mistake that you don't want them in your life because of, okay, that's your choice. But you cannot let one mistake from a good person make them 100% bad. That is completely black and white thinking. No person is going to be a fucking saint, dude. You're not. So you have to be able to be objective and step back and look at why people do things. And that is why I get these books. Because it's not only important for me to learn about myself and how I can be better, but it's really important for me to understand other human beings. And so that is what I invested in. That became my habit. That's what got me from the suicidal thoughts every time I had it down, thinking this is always going to happen. This is always going to come back around. It became my habit, just like juicing or yoga, two things I'm still working on years later. I started so slow. And then as I discovered what worked for me, I built on it. I read more books. I did more exercises. Like, we get on these sprees where we're obsessed with doing one thing and then we stop. So for me, I just kept coming back to it when I could. And over the years, that is what helped me grow, is I made it a habit to want to grow as a person and to want to understand my flaws and to want to understand other human beings. And I became obsessed with it. So yeah, that's how I got to where I am right now, is failing, fucking up over and over until I found out what didn't suck so much, what worked a little bit, just a little bit, and doing those things as many times as possible. And because I didn't stick to them and didn't do them super often, it took me years, and that's okay. Because eventually you get there. That's the point. I'm here. So that's why I'm making these videos, because it's for people who aren't here, but they want to be. I don't think that I took the time to, I broke this. Think about how to make this relatable to people who are just supporting people with BPD. So I'm sorry about that. I didn't think about that before I started it. But I don't even know if this video was any relevance to anyone really. Oh, something I wanted to mention was also because the autobiographies. So like Anna Kendrick has an autobiography. I'm not entirely sure like what I'm allowed to mention in my videos, but yeah. So her book is lit. It's one of my favorite things, and the reason that I love autobiographies, whatever, these books, along with my self-help books, is because her book is so filled with sarcasm and talking about her flaws openly and still loving herself and life. So Anna Kendrick's book, and then, oh my God, another book made out of solid gold, I'm Fine and Other Lies. You have to have it. Like, you have to have it. It's a person who makes you feel, it brings you back down to earth, and you're like, holy shit, I'm a human being, and there are other human beings who are like super like me and have found better ways to fucking cope with it. Like, these books are so important to people like us. And maybe it's not your thing, but it is my thing, so I just wanted to share it. Yeah. I don't know if you guys have questions or if this was helpful, let me know, because maybe I'll get on and do random babbles like this. I don't know if it's helpful because it wasn't like specific topics, but anyways, I hope you guys have a good day. Yeah, I'm just cleaning my house today. So actually, if you drop some comments on this video, I will be around all of today to reply. Okay, bye.